What is up, everybody? Long time no see. This is Tyler Sloan, just in case you don't recognize me with the new look. One of the many changes that has been happening in my life for the better over the last 6 or maybe even 7 months since I last saw you guys via a vlog. Speaking of which, I believe this is vlog number 10. Don't quote me on that because it has been a while. But I just want to give you a quick update on what's happening in my life and kind of talk about some of the growth that I've made over these couple months. And of course, try to leave you with some positive information that you can carry on into your life and hopefully apply it and get some positive experiences from that as well. That's the goal. So, first, my life, what's been happening? There's been a lot of growth, both externally and internally. So let's start with the less important external growth. Part of that is the visual that you're seeing right now. I've made some changes in my look. I've been keeping up with my grooming a little bit better, applying skincare, man. Just all kinds of stuff that I just haven't done and been fortunate enough to maintain some young looks. So thank you, mom and dad and grandpa, grandma, ancestors for kind of letting me get away with that. But I've been making those changes, so that's been part of the external is the looks. And another part of the external has been my new career. Business has been very good. I've been very fortunate to actually close on a deal a couple of weeks ago that put me over the 2 million mark for the last 7 months, which has been really an amazing experience and more than just that 2 million number, which sounds great and makes my ego feel fantastic. What more important than that, though, is the fact that I've been able to help my friends and family, such as yourselves, close on some deals and find them really good value in this market and help set them up for financial success in their future. And I couldn't be prouder about that. It's been really a gratifying experience. And it's been really shown me that I am finally doing what I should have been doing my whole life career-wise. Like I love real estate. It's just been so much fun. It's literally it hasn't felt like I've worked that much over these 6 months, but I have been working and it's been really great. I'm happy to say that I've been keeping busy with that. So thank you to the friends and family who put their trust in me and let me help them. That's been a really fantastic experience. And quick little plug real quick. If you're interested in buying and selling, right now is a great time. The market is in a unique position right now. First of all, if you're selling, we're going into spring and summer, which are the best times to sell. You're going to get the best bang for your buck selling because you're going to have more buyers out there. It's just how it goes in the summer. More buyers equals more demand equals more money. Now, if you're a buyer, also a great time, which is unique. Usually it's either buyer or seller, right? No, we're at a point right now where mortgage interest rates are at a 18-month low, so they're like right around 4%, which means you lock in a house at that rate and it's going to really set you up for financial success in the future, just paying a lot less interest than what would normally historically happen. So it's a great time to buy. Yeah, it's a great time to sell if you have a great agent working for you and that can get that top dollar for you. But if you got a good agent for you helping you buy, I can go out there and find you good value in this market. There's value to be had in any market. And that's what I'm good at. That's what I would love to help you out with. And I would love to not only find the value, but if we find something that's perfect and they got a little overpriced, we'll negotiate. We'll see what we can do. Because if you don't ask, you don't get. So let me ask for you. Anyways, enough of that. That's not what this is about. Quick plug, couldn't help myself. But so that's been a big focus of the growth over the last 6 months. And it's kind of taken me away from focusing on the vlog and some other things. But I've been still focusing very internally, and I've had significant growth in that regard as well, which let's get to that. The other day, I was flying home on a plane where I seem to have a lot of my better ideas, having me on planes. More on that later. But I was flying home, and I was thinking back on my life over the last year, and thinking of what might have contributed to the most growth, both externally and internally, over the last year and ultimately my life. And it really came down to one thing. And what that one thing is investment in myself. Investing in myself monetarily or just investment of time in myself to help benefit my future. That really, everything comes down to that. So I wanted to go over some ways that I do that in my life, especially over this past year, and how that looks and the dividends I feel like I've gained from those investments, and maybe inspire you to start investing in some form for yourself. So first and foremost, I feel like the most beneficial investment I've made in myself over the last year has been in therapy, psychotherapy. Sure, when I went into it a little over a year ago now, I really needed it. I was in an emotional upheaval. I was in a rough spot emotionally. I didn't know how to deal with it. Didn't have the tools, and it was really putting me in a funk. So I went to it out of necessity, but I'm in a totally different space than I was when I first started it, and a very much more mild ride emotionally. And honestly, I don't think I'll ever stop going to therapy until I reach enlightenment, which means until I become the Buddha or Jesus or an equivalent to those awesome people of history, which I don't think is ever going to happen. So that's why I'm pretty confident in my intention that I will probably do therapy for the rest of my life. And the reason I think it's so beneficial is because we all have issues in our lives that we're not quite equipped to handle necessarily, that we need advice on, we need help with. A big thing in my life over this past year has been able to ask for help because everyone needs help. It's easy to hide behind like an ego showing that, oh, you don't need help, you're doing great. But ultimately, that's just tearing you up inside, and it's only going to affect your external circumstances. It's going to hold you back. So therapy has just been amazing for me. I call it my emotional mastermind group. Been able to build up a really good rapport with my therapist, and even though we don't even always talk about emotional issues nowadays, it's just different ways, different things in my life. He's just a genius, really. And he just helps me in so different ways. I just bounce ideas off him. I bounce off situations, circumstances where I felt like I might have not handled it perfectly, kind of ideas of what I can do next time to handle it better. And just growth in so many different ways that I would never even imagined before entering therapy, and just having someone that just really knowledgeable about what's going on in my mind, in my body, emotionally. It's really helped me so much. And I don't think there's any way that I could be in the place that I am right at this moment without that help. So I'm just gonna put it out there. Like, you may not need therapy. I'm not saying you do, but I would look into it, especially if you got like an issue in your life that you're just not really sure about how to handle it. Go and talk to somebody. Who knows? They might be able to give you ideas that just takes your life to the next level. I highly recommend it. If you need help finding a good therapist, the company that I go to is ran by an amazing dude, and there's different ways they can help with you. You might be thinking, oh, it's financially unreasonable at this moment. It's not. They can help people depending on your financial circumstances. It's the best investment you'll ever make. I promise. It's so worth it. And if you can't afford, you don't think you can afford it, let me get you in touch with somebody that might change your mind on that. Anyways, therapy, first and foremost, biggest one. Another thing I did was a Vipassana course, a 10-day Vipassana course. So the long and short of that is I went to Georgia, spent 10 days in this camp basically with no writing, no reading, no TV, no electronics, no exercise. Essentially, you're just eating and meditating all day long. So I was meditating 10 hours a day and eating delicious, healthy food, which has been a way different experience. I tried this in India a couple of years ago, and it was just not the same experience. But Georgia it was a dream in that regard. But essentially, I meditated for 100 hours in 10 days. And with that meditation came all kinds of insights. The first few days of it, I'm just running through all the to-dos and just slowly checking things off on my mind and slowly quieting down all the noise. And by the end of it, I was feeling things that are really mind-blowing to think about now. It's amazing how much you can really sense, how much you become sensitive to when you take out all the noise of everyday life, especially life of us in the Western world and the Eastern world. It's a different kind of crazy over there, but the Western world, with all the stressful things we got, all the things we got to think about for the future, just flying through your head, and it's really easy to get distracted from what really matters and what you're really feeling, what your body's feeling, which is the most important thing. So that investment has really deepened my understanding of meditating, which I think is one of the most beneficial things I've discovered over the last 5 years of my life and helped me tremendously. And it just gives you a better understanding of like why you react to certain things and ways that you can get past those emotional reactions and just really help you focus on what's really happening in your life. So that's been an amazing experience, and I recommend that if you have a chance, if you have 10 days, that's really the biggest thing. And it's not easy. It's not for everyone. I was 5 days into it, and I was like almost having a panic attack that I had 5 more days. It just seemed like it was never going to end. But ultimately, great experience, and I highly recommend it if you have that opportunity. And it's free. It's all based on donations, which leads me to my next investment in self, which is generosity. Just giving, being more generous, sharing the wealth. Because ultimately, what that's going to do is it's gonna make someone else's life better. It's going to give them a positive up boost, and I really believe in that you get what you give. So it's karma. Whether you believe that spiritually or just practically, you do something nice for somebody, they're going to want to return the favor. Reciprocity is just how we're wired. Um, and so put more good out in the world, and it's going to come back to you. Live abundantly, which leads into my next investment I've made over the last years in a class called Bold that Keller Williams offers, which you probably heard me talk about. And it's just training the mind to live more abundantly with your life and being more generous. And the more abundant you live, the more abundantly the world's going to give back to you, I believe. And it certainly has been the case for me in my experience. So that, and then we got supplements is another way I invest myself. I personally do Total Human by On It. It's just like a bunch of different supplements that are just going to make your body function better. Make that investment, give your body the fuel it needs to perform better, and that investment is going to return dividends because you're going to be out there more effective interacting with the world and getting the most out of your body, which are amazing machines that I think we often take for granted. So treat it well. Treat it with healthy food is another way I invest in myself. Massages, one of my favorite ways to invest myself. Go get a massage. Your body's going to love you for it, and it's amazing and relaxing. And actually, I first discovered massages from Steve Nash interview. If you don't know about Steve Nash, he was a awesome basketball player. He played into his 40s, I want to say, or something ridiculous like that. But he credited massages. So if anyone knows about the positive effects of massages, it's going to be a 40-year-old NBA player. They put their body through everything, and he credited that with the reason that he was still functioning as well as he was. So massages, yoga, in the gym are another great ways I invest in myself. Yoga is not the cheapest thing in the world. Not always the cheapest thing in the world, but I'm sure you've seen me brag on OPY, Orlando Power Yoga. It's something I've been doing full time since the beginning of the year now for a little over 3 months, and it's been really amazing. The results I've gotten from it have been really amazing mentally. It's a challenge. It's therapeutic in the sense that it's meditative. It gets you more in touch with your body, quiets your mind down a little bit, and you sweat it out. Detox. I think I've actually talked about all those things, but so that's another way I invest myself. Whether that's just going to the gym for 30 minutes a day, make it a habit, because that's the hardest part is keeping that habit of going every day. But you don't have to do a ton every day. Just do a little bit every day, and it's going to pay dividends. You're going to feel better. You're going to perform better. Your brain's going to love you a lot more better because there's more blood flowing through it, and it's going to be help you provide higher value solutions to whatever it is that you find the solutions for, and which I think is going to in turn reward you financially for that. Another way is traveling. Like I said, traveling has been a beautiful thing for me. It's expanded my horizons, my perceptions, kind of seeing how the world operates outside of my little bubble. And also, flying on planes apparently is a great place for me to have insights. So that's another way. Let's see here. Positive media, podcast, books. Go get yourself some books. Invest the time into reading the books. Invest them in actually purchasing the books, which is not necessary, but something I like to do. We have an awesome library system where you can get basically any book for free. So look into that if you're not looking to spend any money on getting books. Invest in time instead. And whatever it is that you want to read upon or get better at, there's a book on it. I guarantee it. So hop on the shoulders of giants, as what I've heard some people call it, and learn from them. People dedicate their whole life to one subject, and a lot of times, and you can read that over a span of a couple of weeks, even less, depending on how good of a reader you are. But So make that investment in yourself, and then it's going to pay dividends and whatever it is that you're focusing on. So that's about it. Some different ways that I focus on myself and invest time into myself, and I feel I've made created a lot of progress in my life, and really a lot of the reason for my external positive experiences that I've been able to enjoy over this past year boils down to that investment. It all comes back. It all comes back around. Um, I like investing in all forms financially as well. So if you want more on that, hit me up. I love talking about different investments, especially real estate. But most importantly, the fail-safe, fail-proof investment is always going to be an investment in yourself. So go out there, invest in yourself today, whether that's reading a book, listen to a podcast, or whatever. Just do it. I promise it'll pay dividends. And on the final note, I want to leave with a new thing that I'm going to start doing is the positive thought of the day, which I got from a podcast that I like to listen to called the Aubrey Marcus podcast. And that thought is, let me read it so I don't butcher it. The sun does not judge itself by the shadows that it casts. I just thought that was just a great poetic line, and it kind of boiled down to a lot of time I spent focusing on in therapy. Don't judge yourself because you have casted shadows in your life. You made mistakes that had maybe caused negative ripples, haven't been the most positive things in the world. You got to forgive yourself for those things and move on, because continually convicting yourself is not going to help anyone, especially yourself, and it's not going to brighten your day. It's not going to make your future better. So rather than dwelling on the past, figure out how you can improve and move forward. That's the thought of the day. So take that with you. Go find something to invest your time into or your money into that's going to help your future, and have a fantastic rest of your week. And I love you all. And thanks for listening this long. I know it was a long one, so I appreciate you sticking with me. Y'all have a great one.